You're listening to Adventist Radio London. This is a Family Matters show, and this show is crazy about mental health. My name is Ruth Maxwell.
Yes, and my name is Brian Maxwell. Welcome to Crazy About Mental Health. Today we have a very special guest. His name is Alpha Collins, and you are by profession, Alpha?
I'm a professional and a mental health nurse.
Okay,
Wonderful. That's
right. As usual, as customary, when we do radio shows, we pray. So we're going to start with a brief prayer. Thank you, Father God, because you are God and you are God alone. And Lord, you care for our mental well-being, and you said you want us to prosper and to be in good health. And Father, in this series, this short, brief series, we're going to be looking at mental well-being and mental health, even within the church. And Father, just pray that somebody may benefit and somebody may be able to realize that there's no stigma to having mental health, and that, Father, or mental health difficulties, and that, Father, they can ask for help. Thank you, Father, that you're going to help us as a church to be more tolerant of others because they're tolerant of us. Thank you, Father, because you hear our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, like I said, you're listening to Crazy About Mental Health, a show on the Family Matters show for Adventist Radio London. And maybe just give you a background. The brainchild, we thought about this show because I work within the mental health arena. And we decided that for our next series, maybe we need to look at mental health and how people are impacted by mental health in the church. Yeah. Because it's not something that you really hear about on a Sabbath morning. And by Sabbath, for those of you that are not familiar, the Family Matters show in Adventist Radio London is a radio station run by Seventh-day Adventists, and we worship on the Sabbath. And the Sabbath, as we understand it from the Bible, is from Friday sunset to Saturday sunset. And most of our church attendance is done on a Saturday. So when I say Sabbath, this is what I mean. So every Sabbath, when we go to church, you hardly ever hear of anybody talking about mental illness or anything like that. I'm aware that the church globally is doing something, and I'm aware that the church as a union, under the current health ministry's directory is looking at something in mental health and has done so in the past. But it's something that we want to promote and to get going. So, like I said, I work in the mental health arena. I'm a social worker by profession. I've worked in mental health since 2004. And I got into mental health because of something happened in my family. Somebody that I love dearly developed mental health difficulties, and I didn't know where to go. I called some trusted church brethren to come to my house to pray. And we went and prayed for this individual, and it took quite a while for that prayer to be answered. In the sense that what we thought was maybe just a spiritual issue actually was a mental health issue, and we were just tackling it from the spiritual angle and praying. And so when it dawned on me that this was possibly a mental health related issue, and we took that individual. And I'm only calling them that individual because I haven't asked for the permission, and actually I'm protecting their identity and their confidentiality, because not everybody's comfortable coming to talk to on the radio about mental health difficulties. So that we took that individual to services, and she went into hospital, and the hospital really couldn't find anything, and I kept saying, but there's a problem, there's a problem, and it's like I was banging against every door, and no door was opening. And then ultimately there was this Nigerian doctor, and he sat me down, and I explained all the symptoms, and because it's 2004, Google wasn't so hot back then, but I still did my research, and so I described all the symptoms, and he said, this person seems to be experiencing some sort of mental health difficulty. Have you tried referring them to? I said, I have tried. We've gone to the GP. We've done everything. So it was only because that doctor now listened to what I had to say as somebody that was affected by that my individual's mental illness. It's only because that person listened that the door opened. And so I sat back and reflected about this. I was also at the crossroads in terms of my career in 2004. So I thought, I struggled to access services to tackle this mental health issue. I wonder if other people equally struggle like myself. And so a sister in the church who said to me, well, Brian, you know, your personality, the way that you deal with people and the way you interact, I think you'd make a great social worker. I had worked in business before then. I had a degree in law and marketing and everything. I didn't go down the law route. I went down the business route. And I thought, well, it's not really social work, is it? That my career so far. But I took her the word and enrolled and did a master's in social work. And when I did that, because of my experience with my relative, I decided to major in mental health. And I've worked in mental health since 2004. I've worked in an inpatient facility. I've worked as part of an early intervention in psychosis team. And now I work as a local authority, doing assessments and working with people under the Care Act and relevant mental health legislation. So this is my background in mental health. And this is what sparked the idea about this show.
Yeah.
And also because in my job, I see a lot of Adventists coming through services.
Yeah.
And obviously because of confidentiality, I can't even talk to them in church about what they're going through. And it's almost like this clandestine thing that they do under cover of darkness. You get treated for mental illness, then you come to church and they're like, well, we need to debunk this mystery. Yeah. We need to normalize this and remove the stigma and let people know that, listen, just like if you have a tummy ache, you ask for help and you ask the church to pray for you.
Right.
If you have cancer, because we had an all-night prayer last night we're recording this show on New Year's Day, by the way. It's not a live recording. We're recording it on New Year's Day. And last night we had an all-night prayer and people prayed for all sorts of things. But you hardly ever hear people say, oh, pray for me because I have depression. Pray for me, I'm struggling with psychotic thoughts. Pray for me, I'm struggling with anxiety. Pray for me, I'm struggling with post-traumatic stress disorder. You'd hardly ever hear that. So there's this almost quiet suffering in our pews, and I think the church is not ill-equipped. I think the church has the resources. We just need to galvanize resources, because we have mental health professionals that can almost bet in most churches, but they are not transitioning from their professional role into taking their skills that God has blessed them with to function and to support members within the church. So that's for me was the brainchild for this show. Let's debunk the mystery. Let's get people functioning in the areas of your expertise. God did not call you. We're going to talk to Alpha today. God did not raise you Alpha just to be a psychiatric nurse in the community. These skills are to be used for the edification of the church. You are the psychiatric nurse toe in the body. I might be the psychiatric nurse little finger. But social work little finger. But this for the sake of our viewers, this is a brainchild for the show, and this is why we said crazy about mental health, just wordplay, but also because it's something that we as presenters are passionate about, because we've been impacted personally, and also this is the arena that I work in, and my wife always has to hear.
It's a whole new world for me. But weirdly, it's not, because we are in it and we're affected by it, and sometimes we don't even realise until there's somebody who has the knowledge and information to go, actually, have you thought about this? Or maybe have you considered it could be this? And so it's almost like you professionals for us, meaning me, someone who doesn't know a lot about mental health, you're like our translators. You're going to be the people who will break it down for us and make it something that we can really understand, and also then relate to and go, oh, actually, all right, I get that now. Oh, that was linked to that. Oh, that makes sense. So I'm really excited about this show as well.
Great. and the lack of professional experience in this field, because she's going to ask questions that I might not think of, and things that I take for granted. She brings a totally different perspective. Okay, we said we have on the show Alpha Collins, and you're a psychiatric nurse. So maybe tell us a bit about yourself and your background in relation to mental health.
Okay. I mean, first, I came to the UK 2007 from Holland. I'm African, Liberian. Before entering doing mental health nursing, I had no idea about nursing. I was one of those people who said nursing is for women, and so I basically did administration, business management. That's my first degree and second degree. But when I came to UK 2007, I did some jobs, other jobs, and then eventually I lost my jobs, and people start telling me, say, you have this caring nature in you. Why don't you do like maybe support work or nursing? I said, no, nursing is not for me. So I decided to support work in 2009, which I really enjoyed. Actually, it's one of my best jobs in the UK ever. Because working with people with learning disabilities. This person has learning disabilities, so it was really very great.
Okay, maybe just it's a slight detail. What is support work, and what did you do in that role? In case there's somebody that might want to go down that. I know this is not a career show, but maybe it will branch out and end up in a career show.
I mean, basically, support work is actually looking after people with their daily life. It can be like just basically cooking for them, escorting them to the shop, doing shopping, and helping them with personal care. Just anything to maintain the person's daily life and dignity. So that's actually support.
Okay, so it's about a social inclusion. And social inclusion just means that people access the things that we take for granted.
Exactly, because you'll be. It's interesting that a lot of people who aren't able to access the community because of their illness, of their disability. So support worker, you will be like a stepping, like a bridge for them to assist those things, which is very great. I really enjoyed, and that was one of my best. As it was my eye opening. So that was also one of the reasons why I did nursing. Another reason is that because a family member, I'm not going to call the name because I didn't get permission to say the name, but it's a very close family member, and she still has the problem. She still has mental health problem because, like I said, I'm from Africa, Liberia. We went through a war crisis, and this individual has up to now PTSD, is post-traumatic stress disorder. It's like the person relative was ill and was killed, and this person still having some flashback nightmares.
Okay.
At the time, I didn't know.
So what's post-traumatic stress disorder? What does that look like?
It's
at least for that person, because I suppose the presentation is different for each individual. What does it look like for that person?
It's like a trauma. It's like, for example, you are dreaming, you're seeing things happen in reality. It's not real. We can't see it, but the person is visualizing it.
Right.
And so in this case, this person is experiencing seeing their loved ones being murdered and having them constant nightmares.
So this is a recurring cycle.
Yeah, a recurring cycle.
Wow.
So I didn't understand it, and from my background, from my culture background, we classify those things. We try to keep it on the carpet. And say those things are witchcraft. We don't really believe in it. So it was also one of the reasons for me to enter nursing, to get to understand the person much better, to see how best I can support that person. And that's one of the reasons why I did nursing. So 2013, 2014, I started, but I was still reluctant to do nursing because of the reason I said it's.
Because you're a man.
But I was surprised to see men doing nursing. Right. You know, when I went to the university, I was like, wow, very interesting. So that motivated me as well. And then also, I mean, I have to be very thankful to the UK as well, because I didn't pay for it, and also there was a means for me to do my studies, and it's because I was motivated, and also got the support from people close to me. I was able to do it. So eventually, 2018, I qualified.
Wonderful.
So, but I've been working since 2009 in this field. I was able to also manage and home with people with learning disabilities in that period of time. So yeah. So doing daily job, I also look after people who have mental illness like psychosis, like drug induced, learning disabilities, depression, and I work mainly with people with, like, for example, Elder Brian, who's sitting here, the social workers. I work with doctors. We come together in we call it MDT. We set up plans and we make care plans, and then that's what we do, and try to give the person. They might not never be 100%, but we're trying to give them as much as possible to be able to fulfill their normal life. Right. And that's what is it, and it's very interesting.
What does a normal day look like for a psychiatric?
I mean, is there a normal day though?
What's nice about the job is the day is never the same.
Right.
Because, it's never the same.
That's one of the things I love about
it's never the same. That's why I love it about it myself too. You can come today, you can have day it can be quiet, and you can come maybe the next day. You have spoken with this patient, and then the patient is very unwell, very psychotic, very aggressive, and it's never the same. So our day, but sadly, what I have to say is one thing is, which is always the same in the UK, is a lot of paperwork. And we are spending more time sometimes doing a lot of paperwork than interacting with the patients, which I think that's the sad part of the job, which I think we should move more towards engaging with patients, because nowadays the healthcare system, they are more involved with the patient, which I think the nurses should be also involved. I myself, I try always to do that, because I think it's very important. If I have to do a care plan with a patient, I need to know the needs of the patient. I need to know what they want, and
you need to spending time.
So but it's very interesting. It's a lovely job, and I don't regret doing it now.
Okay, well, I've got loads of questions, so
no problem. I can go on.
But we're just going to have a quick pause just to remind our listeners. This is the Crazy About Mental Health show on the Family Matters show for Adventist Radio London. Now, if you are interested about taking part in the show or have any questions that you'd like to post, then please email studio@adventistradio.london, or you can text 82228, the word hope, a space, and then your message. We're going to have a short break, and then we'll be right back. Hi, this is Brian and Ruth Maxwell, and in 2020 we've got a new show called Crazy About Mental Health.
That's right, Crazy About Mental Health. If you're a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a social worker, community psychiatric nurse, an OT, or another mental health professional, please get in touch with us. We want to hear from you as well if you're an expert by experience, or somebody that is affected by mental illness, or if you know somebody that is affected by mental illness or mental health issues, get in touch with us as well.
So you can email studio@adventisradio.london or text 82228, the word hope, a space, and then your message. God cares about your mental well-being. Hi, you're listening to Adventist Radio London. We're on the Family Matters show, and this is Crazy About Mental Health. And we are so fortunate to be speaking to Alpha Collins today, who is a psychiatric nurse. So thank you very much. Now, you mentioned a few bits about some of the things that you do and who you interact with. But one of my questions was, what point in a patient's journey would they come across you or come across a psychiatric nurse? When did that happen?
A patient, I mean, we all can get unwell mentally, unwell any time in life. It doesn't discriminate with age or gender or anything. So you can be us. I would say that the youngest person I ever met with mental health illness was 7 years old. Wow, It was quite severe. There was a lot of learning disability aspects as well. So you can have people. We have a service in London called Early Intervention Service. So it's actually focused on people who are under the 18 years old.
Right.
So anybody under 18 can be looked after in the mental health institution. And also you can also go to the GP as well if you realize that you have some problems, you're not sleeping well, you're not eating well, you have too much worries, GP. Right. And also A&E. A lot of people don't think A&E is for people with mental illness, but yes, we can also use A&E for mental illness.
Right.
That's right.
You know, I advise people to many times to go to A&E because sometimes the GP is overbooked. Right. A&E should be a contact for people for mental illness. Right. Nowadays you have apps. I remember Prince William also started some app. I forgot the name, and which is you can download on your phone, and which is good. Yeah. So at any point of time in people's life, you can. But with me, because I used to work on the acute service, so. People used to come who were unwell, who were being referred to the GP or A to me. But where I'm working now is we get mainly referred from NHS services, hospitals, if they can't deal with patients. Because I'm working with people with diagnosis
What does that mean, dual diagnosis?
Dual diagnosis, people who have mental illness and also learning disabilities.
Right.
You know, it also, or it could be drug induced, and you know, something that has trickled the mental illness.
Wow.
You know, so that's, I work with those people. So we get mainly referred from NHS to us. So it's sadly you can't just go directly to us.
Okay.
But if they do come to us directly, we can refer them to other places.
So is it like a hospital type setup where you're at, where patients are literally there day and night?
Yes.
Right,
Yes.
okay.
Because some services you have places where patients are there for 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, depending on the sections, or you know, depend on the situations.
Okay.
Yeah. So with us, we have patients there for a long time. Yeah.
What are some of the like the common misconceptions about like mental health, or what you've found in your profession, or are people scared to even talk about it? You know,
yeah, it's true. I mean, there's a lot of misconception in that field. First of all, the denial of mental illness, and sometimes you get people saying that this person is just playing up the system because he or she wants to get some benefits, or is acting up, and sometimes also our background also doesn't really help, because where I'm from, we don't really understand mental illness. It's like it's witchcraft. So sometimes it's behavior. Sometimes it can be behavior, but sometimes
sometimes it can be witchcraft.
Yeah.
Sometimes it could be witchcraft. It's true. But we have to be open to the fact that people can become unwell anytime in the stage. So we have to be ready to be able to support the person, you know, and until it's proven wrong. Yeah. The reason why we do assessment to make sure that the person is unwell or not. And also we also have, in my field, is that people think mental health nurses, they don't do any work. It's we do a lot of work, because it's very, you know, we do a lot of work. It's very challenging, you know. It's I mean, because it's not only just attending to giving medications, but it comes to sometimes we are counselors. We have to sit with people. We have to talk to people, and we have to speak to families, and we do referral, we assess patients.
When you say referrals, what do you mean?
Referral, like for example, if you come to me for example, you have some drug problem, and even though we are in mental health hospital, we won't be able to support you. I can refer you to the drug induced system. Yeah,
get more help.
Yes, exactly, because it's like when you go to A&E, or we have certain units where intensive care units where you have people for, you know, short term, so you should be able to know where the people you can direct them to. And also a lot of misconception of for my field is that from nurses sometimes, sadly, is that they think mental nurses shouldn't be just for medication, but I think it's for everything. Personal care, I do personal care as well. Wash people and look after people, because I've worked with elderly people. And sometimes I remember working with this newly qualified nurse, and she was saying that the healthcare system should do it. I said, no, we nurses should be doing it, because we should know what's happened to this patient, you know, and
the root cause of things.
Yes, you know. So, and also there's a lot of excuses with people with mental health problems. Some people in society think that if you have mental health problem, you can't work, you can't do something. Yes, you can. It's very good for you to do things, because it helps you to engage with other people, to do things, you know, because keeping you isolated from the society can even make your illness worse. So it's very important to be able to associate. And also another misconception is that we think that the problem can only be solved in a hospital, but it's actually not. It's not always medication. Sometimes just psychotherapy, just counseling, just talking with someone, how the person feel. The reason where we can then bring our church into it, because the church meets a lot of people who has a lot of professions, and you will be able to incorporate those different groups with the church and then support those people. So there's a lot of misconception about the job, because people don't really understand it. It's come down to lack of knowledge.
Right.
And I think if the more we talk about mental illness, the more we talk about is real, I think people will become start to realize this is something we have to take for serious.
Yes.
Because it's like, if I have headache, it's very common. Okay, the pain, you know where the pain is coming from. Just take paracetamol. But if I'm depressed, you know.
Even just knowing that what that is depression as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's very important to know the cause. So the reason why sometimes just sitting with someone, talking with them, and then it helps a lot.
Do you think then, like maybe as a church organization, we need to have mental health professionals actively engaged with our congregation? I'm not saying assessing the church, but maybe quietly assessing the church, and just because as a mental health professional, and I haven't worked in this field for 16 years now, I can pick things up from members, even the way they interact and even the way they are. Yeah. And do you think that's something that maybe churches can start looking into, that maybe just practice your profession on a Sabbath?
I mean, definitely. But what the church, I think, can do is that utilize the resources better, because we live in a country where now people have to be very careful of doing their profession out of work because of the blame culture, and you want to protect yourself. Yeah. So what the church could do is, of course, you can have those people there, but also you can have informations, and being able to support people to where to point places to where people can go.
Right, so point of information.
Signposting. Because in our church, I haven't seen any signposts, if I should be honest with you. I mean, probably it's there, but I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I know. And
actually, that's a good point. Maybe we need to start in our own local church. Yeah.
I mean, we have a lot of people with a lot of professions. So sometimes people don't have, it's wrong to say some people don't have time, because some Sabbaths you want to relax, you want to worship. Right. But we can always have people who volunteer, who willing to do things there. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely. But the most important thing is we should be able to get information. So, for example, we can even give courses, if possible, people who work in the field, who willing to do some presentation about the course.
Yeah, or that's a good idea.
Maybe some videos, or maybe because we are not all the same professions. Our pastor, even though he's a pastor, he won't know everything. Right. Our elders won't know everything, they will probably be able to say, okay, this person working in this field probably will be able to find some information for you, and then those are things we can do. Definitely. But I think the church can do a lot. Yeah. I mean, like what you said, the church is doing things like probably I'm not aware of, but it's very important. And maybe also what I used to see when I was doing my studies, I saw that some churches, some pastors from other churches used to come to the hospital to sit with the patient and talk for the patient, because when it comes to religion in this country, you have to be very careful. It has to be planned. So then if you, as an organization, as a church, it's much easier to work with, for example, a hospital or NHS than the individual, because the church, sorry to say, but this country, when it comes to religion, they're trying to put it aside, and which is sad, actually. I think we can learn a lot from the Bible.
But I suppose there's roots via like the chaplaincy, even if I can get the word out, and to access things like hospital and psychiatric hospitals. So there's pathways. It not be as maybe it's not as easy as knocking on the door and saying, "Yo, I'm a pastor. Can I stop?" So if a church is determined, they can find means and ways to be positive. And I guess it's not just about evangelizing; it's just meeting the needs.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
And if people just I suppose it is meeting the needs is evangelizing, because what was Jesus' method? Jesus' method was that he hung around with people, he met their needs, and then only at that point did he say, "Come and follow me." And if our community, whether within the church or without the church, has mental health needs, then maybe as a church we should proactively look to meet those needs.
It's true.
That's it, because part of faith is service, isn't it?
Yes.
And so it's understanding that there are things that God has given us that we are to use to help other people. Because I know you did mention saying that there's not enough time within your work capacity to be getting to know the patients and that kind of stuff. And then you said pastors go in. Do you think there's scope for maybe churches even just to have times when they're open for people just to pop in and talk, like things that we kind of take for granted, that actually within your sphere of work, you'd say, actually, this is really useful, even though we do this normally. Yeah. For someone who is struggling with mental health, this would be a lifeline for them. Are there certain things that maybe churches could do that we just do?
Yes, I mean, before I entered the Adventist, before I became Adventist, I was Catholic, and I think what they're doing very well is that the church is open almost 24 hours.
Right.
It's always open 24 hours. Yeah. So because of that, they always had people available to. I've seen that, but with our church, sadly, maybe because we don't really have the resources to back that up, we are not open 24 hours. So that could be one of the. That could be something we could maybe look.
Well, I suppose you could even have a helpline. The church physical door doesn't have to be open. We can have a 24-hour hotline. I mean, you've got the Samaritans. You could have an Adventist version of that. Yeah. And if it's just about people conversing, it's true. And like you said yourself, many people are socially isolated, and they might just need somebody to talk to. You don't have to be a mental health expert, but obviously anybody entering this work, because we are working with vulnerable individuals, you'd need to be DBS checked.
Oh, definitely.
Yes, so that we actually we know you are safe. Yeah, definitely. To work with vulnerable people.
And in terms of the for where we are, we do have a counselling service, don't we, linked to the South England Conference?
Yes, Cornerstone Counselling, they're called. Just Google Seventh-day Adventist Church. I don't have the references on me, but if you Google Seventh-day Adventist Church in the UK, I'm in. And then with you get the North England Conference and South England Conference and British Union Conference. In the South England Conference, if you go within their webpage, you should find information on Cornerstone Counselling.
Yeah. But my question is, do we have that on signposts in the church? Because because people, it's good that we have that, but you have to go through Google, maybe probably just
so having
that information. Okay, so if one of the take-home messages from this show for our local church is that make mental health information really available, whether it's within services within the community or services within the actual church organization itself. Yeah. So that's something we will need to look at as our own local church congregation, Ruth, and maybe the other congregations can look at that. Yeah. How much information is available there? Yeah. Even if it's just a notice board thing, a poster. Do you have mental health difficulties? Ring this line or whatever.
Or even because we have a website for the church, you can even put a small link on the website. Wonderful. If you go on the website, you just click that link. It tells you shows you the different wherever you want to go. Yes. So I mean, the information is there, but it's difficult to get.
We just need to get a route to direct people to it.
So what I would say to people who are listening, because you may be sitting there thinking, we do that in our church, we've got that. Please email us in and
tell
share your ideas. Yeah. Take some photos, maybe if you've got displays or if you've got PDFs that you use, please send it in. Email studio@adventisradio.london or text 8228, the word hope, a space and then the message or your picture, and this would be something that we can really use and help each other to really support mental health.
That's right. I was just thinking and just reflecting what you have said. So from your perspective, how would a mental health service user ready church, what would that church look like from your perspective?
I mean, I think one of the things what I would love to, in our church I like is love in action, And
where's your church?
In the Bletchley, Milton Keynes, Fishermaid. We have another one in Wolverton, we have another Ghanaian service, but I go to Fishermaid. So we have different branches here.
So we have the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Fishermaid, Milton Keynes. We call it Milton Keynes Central, and every Thursday we have homeless food supporting program called MK Love in Action.
And that is, I think, one of the best services in the church. Sadly, I'm not really involved a lot, but I want to pray that I will be involved more because.
Or do you think you should be as a mental health professional?
Yeah, definitely, because we have people coming there who I've seen. in the hospital settings, and then I do know, because I'm not allowed to. I'm combined to confidentiality. I can't say it, but I see people coming there who have mental illness, and it's great to work with them, and who are willing to, who they're actually seeking help.
Right.
Yes.
Because these are people. Because many of us sometimes we have the illness, but we don't really seek help.
Yeah.
And it's not information not available, but sometimes we're not seeking help. But these people are coming to the church. They are really want to help.
Yeah.
So it's great to have that facility, which we do in Milton Keynes, and I think that is a good example of having a church with mental health. You know, people who are going through the problems, and we are able to support them, incorporate with our faith and the Bible. Because the Bible is also in the way of helping people with mental illness. You know, it's very interesting, but it's true.
And there's many examples, isn't there? That could be something we can explore as well.
Oh yes, if you think of Nebuchadnezzar's 7
Even
year,
Job,
7 year, and Job went through a depressive phase. And these Nebuchadnezzar in the end, I recognize God as Nebuchadnezzar's story is in the book of Daniel. For anybody that doesn't know, Job's story, funnily enough, is in the book of Job. And God dealt with all these people. And then if you look in the 1st and 2nd Samuel, I think, or 1st Samuel, the story of Saul.
Oh yes,
that went through a thing of his own. And he needed David to play some soothing music. Music therapy right there.
And lucky, because of that, even now in my field, music is playing an important role, because we have music therapy for people who have mental illness.
Okay, talk to me. What does that look like?
I haven't done it much, but what I've seen in my experience is that probably you have seen it done more than I. It's calm. Like, for example, me, I'll give an example. If I'm feeling depressed or feeling low in mood, I play the music. It's calming down. It just carry me. Not all music, by the way.
That's right.
So I have to say it's not all music. Yeah. But it just calmed me down, and it gave me some feel of relaxation.
That's it.
But I mean, the research bears this out. When you're on your lift, in a lift, they play that boring music. Almost get out of a lift music. And then when you're at a restaurant, they'll play the car music, and then when they want you to get out, so they speed it out. Yes, music. Exactly. So there is a psychology to music, and it's funny that before we had music therapy, we had music therapy in the Bible.
Right.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
Exactly.
It's true. It's true.
I remember as a child, not with great pride, people in that church that maybe we considered slightly weird, and maybe as children you'd see that these people had some idiosyncratic behavior, and you almost laughed at them, and then the church also treated them like that, like they were an oddity, like a curiosity, and then maybe that's one of the things we need to change in our church building, that the people that are affected by mental issues are not necessarily an entertainment for people to gather and snigger around and point fingers. I
mean, in our church, I haven't seen that happening. Probably it happens, but I haven't seen that happening. I think we do really support people with mental illness. The only thing maybe what I would like to see more happening is that maybe it happens because we have the family department. Because what I've seen in my field is sadly a lot of children coming into hospital with mental health problems, and sometimes it is due to behavior, and sometimes it's because of the involvement of the parents. So it's very important probably that our church also, that's a family department, which we do have. It emphasizes a lot on it, because sometimes we see a child just running around, but it doesn't. It's not because our child
is naughty,
but it could be many reasons.
Right,
it could be many reasons. So that is not an area where I just wanted to add into it. That
it sounds like, if I'm hearing you correctly, that you're saying that this mental health thing is not just a health ministries thing. Family ministries need to be involved. Because children's ministries need to be involved. So there's a whole holistic.
It's true.
And could I dare say health ministries to be involved?
Definitely. Because one of the issues is even though mental health problem, some people say it's biologic, but it's not only biologic. You know, it can also be social. Yeah.
Wow.
You know?
Sorry. Psychosocial. What does that mean?
Basically, it could be your social life, your style, your lifestyle could have impact
your
on
home
your
environment,
your illness, your environment, how you live,
so the context,
you know. It can be a lot of things,
and also how you are made, your natural mental makeup.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So that's this.
Some people are resilient to. Some people are very resilient to difficulties. Some people are not. Some people get easily panic. Some people, you know, it's a lot of factors.
And that's your natural personality.
Right.
Yeah. We just have to deal with it.
Yeah,
you know? And that's the reason why we need to pray, ask God for support and help, you know, because it's very important.
And I think me just sitting in this conversation with both of you is making me realise that we are blessed to have people like you who are functioning in society, helping people, and you are members of our church who will function the same way with our members, you know, because you care about it. It's not just right, I'm going to work, right, I'm clocking off. You know, I don't think about it.
You can't clock off.
You
know? Like yesterday, I was to work. Sorry to interrupt, but I was to work before I went to church. They were short of staff. Sorry, and it's just we struggle with staff. Yeah. And I can't say I'm going home because time is finished. Right. I have to make sure, because I have patience to look
after. You have to hand over.
I have to hand over.
It's human beings.
It's
not a commodity.
Exactly.
It's not a file.
No, it's human beings.
Yeah.
So you can't just say, right, I'm done. You have to wait until the next person is physically in situ. Before you go.
Yeah. So I've got this question kind of slightly off script. So how can somebody like you who's passionate about the gifts that God's given you and you're functioning, you know, in society, how can you then blend that? Because you talked about the problems of, you know, work and then confidentiality and mixing it with church. What are some kind of practical things that someone who is a social worker or a psychiatric nurse, someone who functions in that capacity, what kind of things could they do to support their local church, you know, without it getting too difficult, shall we say?
I mean, from that question, I get a few other questions, but one of the bits I gather is how can I function myself? How do I function in the table? For me, the Bible, it helps me to function. That is my first step, because this field is very challenging. And it's very challenging. So the Bible is, for me, Jesus Christ is a way, I think, for Christ, it doesn't matter if you are Adventist, Catholic, or whatsoever, but Jesus Christ is a key. If we look at Jesus Christ, how his lifestyle is, he was someone who was caring, who was compassionate.
He touched lepers.
You know, he likes people. You know, he wasn't afraid to help people. So those are the characters I like to have, and that's what helped me to do my job. You know, because these people were helping the very vulnerable. They can't help themselves, otherwise they won't be in hospital. No one likes to be in hospital. I think that's my philosophy. If you like to be in hospital, then you're in the wrong place. You know? I don't like hospital at all. You know, but I have work is different. It's different. Working there is different. But I mean, going as a patient. So really, the Bible helps me a lot to able to do my job. And also, coming back to the other question you said, with the church, I mean, like, this is the same, you know, your faith, you know, sharing with other people. You know, it doesn't have to be something big, just something little. Just that's little conversation, or maybe a smile, wishing you're very good, wishing I really love working with you. You know, it really helps someone. It really helps someone, you know. So going forward, that's how
Wow.
You know.
Okay, I think we'll take a break.
So just a quick reminder. This is the Crazy About Mental Health show on the Family Matters show for Adventist Radio London.
Excellent, and we are Brian and Ruth Maxwell. And we didn't tell you, but we're actually launching a ministry in 2020, Put God First Ministries.life. So look out for us on YouTube, Facebook, and on the internet. We launched a website. We'll start with those three. Put God First Ministries.life. Look out for us in 2020, or PGFministries.life. Same thing. Okay, we'll take a break.
You are listening to the Family Matters Show on Adventist Radio London.
Okay, so we're back. This is Crazy About Mental Health, and we're here with Alpha Collins, a psychiatric nurse.
Let's get this precisely correct. Okay. He is a male.
Male.
Psychiatric nurse.
And so we've been talking a lot about what's involved in terms of the care for mental health and what is needed and the resources and everything. And I'm thinking about our Adventist church and what we call the ministries, so the services that we provide. Do you feel that the Adventist church or local churches could create specific activities or services that would be useful within this mental health field?
Definitely. I mean, one of the things we can do as an Adventist, we have this camp meeting every year. We have a massive of people coming together from all over the country, coming together. And what we can also do is that also why people coming there not only to pray, people coming there sometimes seeking help.
Yes.
And what we can do also have that massive people, but also people there who can give advice. So we can give sessions, we can give it's very important to have those things available for our people, because sometimes in London, for example, I gave you examples, some place in London, depending where you are, you get certain services. Even in Milton Keynes, for example, because Milton Keynes, we don't have camps. If you
what's camps?
Camps are for children, young adults,
right?
Who are in mental health institution. So if we have them here, we have to probably refer them to other places.
No, we have camps. There's a camp service.
It's camp service?
There's camp service. They're based at the Egerton. Well, if you're in Milton Keynes, we have a camp service with the early interventionist psychosis team. We have an assertive outreach. So secondary mental health services are well supported and are improving at the moment. And I know that they're currently going through a restructuring to meet the needs of the population a bit better. But we have camps.
So it's raising the awareness.
Yes. So camps is a child and adolescent mental health service. So it takes care of everybody under 18. Yeah. And I know in Milton Keynes, if they have psychosis, then from 18 upwards,
psychosis.
Okay, psychosis is a mental health experience where people see things, hear things, have or feel things smell things that other people don't see, or they may not necessarily be real, and they experience these things because of something that's not quite
there.
Normal in their psyche or in their presentation. That's psychosis. So the services are available in Milton Keynes, and they're very available in most local authorities. The NHS is very good with that, and as Alpha said before, go through your local GP. Go to if as the last resort you're at with end. Take yourself or take your relative to A&E, and then you'll be signposted to the right service.
So I think with the camp meeting element, it's raising the awareness that these services are available.
It's true.
Yes,
it's true.
That's what. So they are there, but we need to access them.
Yeah, little Johnny may not just be behaving crazy. Right. Little Johnny may actually need help.
Yes.
Yeah, and if you're not sure, there are online services like Mind, www.mind.org.uk. We're not affiliated with Mind, but that's a resource that I use a lot, because there's a number of very good leaflets that break everything down for you to understand. So and also they have they'll tell you even the pathway to take if you start.
Right, that's Mind, MIND.
Yeah, Mind. It's mind.org.uk. Yeah,
brilliant.
That's true. That's fine.
Do you think there are other things, Brian, that we could do as a church or as an organisation to provide a service?
I think, as I said, our current BUC leaders, Sharon Pratt McDonald, and a few others, authored a document in 2016. I have the PDF on my computer, and I just want to say and apologize to Sharon Pratt McDonald. Well, that PDF is still sitting on my computer, and I haven't used that. And it's quite a good resource. And it's something that as a church we could use. And hopefully at a later show we'll be able to get her to come on the show so she can speak firsthand. And I'm not giving the Brian version of this document, but it's a good document. So if churches actually tap into what the BUC and SCC and other church institutions are doing. Definitely. And I think we have a number of mental health professionals working within our church, and I'm putting it out there. Maybe we need to network and start an Adventist mental health society, and within the UK, and so that we can tap into one another, and we can standardize approaches, and we can share good practice. Yes. So that's one of the things that I would like to see as an outcome, and maybe we can challenge the family ministries, the children's ministries, and the health ministries departments. Actually, I'm throwing down the gauntlet. The health ministry department, the children's ministry department, and the family ministries department could work together to come up with to draw up this, because this is a gap that I see in the support that we provide our members. And like I said, God cares about our mental health being. And so if God cares about our mental well-being, part of our mission field in terms of in-reach are those of our members that have mental health needs. Yes. And in terms of our outreach, those in the community that have mental health needs. We can't just pick and choose. No. The gospel is to go to everyone. And we say that Jesus' method was to mingle with people of whatever race, creed, mental spectrum, if you please. He mingled with those, and then he met their needs, and then he said, come to me. And that's what I'm challenging us as a church to do, and to form something. That's one of you can hear the excitement in my voice. I'm really passionate about this, because it's like, why did God give me this 16 years of experience in this field? No, and then it's just an adjunct to, and I park it when I go to church. That doesn't make sense. I think if we're the body, and if the Spirit gives gifts for the edification of the church, I think my profession is a gift of sorts. And my church should benefit from that. Yes. And I'm talking about putting people, and this is not a political campaign. I'm not interested in being a CC president. Dr. Osei, you're safe. All I'm saying is that people should be put in areas where they are skilled. Part of our problem is when we have unskilled people carrying out jobs that they are not equipped to do. The church has a number, even within the organization, of training programs that they run. And if we don't, then let's go outside the church. Let's equip people. And if we have the expertise within our church, let's get those people to take the lead. And for me, I'm passionate about mental health. And I dare say I'm crazy about mental health. And I want us as a church to take this seriously and to meet the needs of our people, because people are suffering in our pews every Sabbath, and we are discussing necessary doctrines like Daniel and Revelation and the last day events. These are all necessary stuff, but if people are not settled mentally, they're not going to be able to take this stuff in, and they're not going to be in a position. Then church is something that's superficial. I want us to be real in the church. I want us to be a roll up your sleeves and get stuck in it with church. I want it to be take your suit off on a Sabbath and hold somebody and say, listen, you're okay. God has got you. That's where I'm coming from this mental health perspective. Sorry, I sounded a bit preachy there.
No, you're not.
But I'm passionate about it. I want to see this happen in our church, and I want people that are as equally passionate to get in touch with us. Ruth has got the great radio voice. People that are passionate about this, tell us how they can get in touch.
So you can email studio@adventistradio.london, or you can text 82228, the word hope, a space, and then put your message on there. We really, really would love to hear from you.
Okay, maybe as a final point, Alpha. How, if somebody wants to become a psychiatric nurse, how do they get to train to be a psychiatric nurse?
I mean, first of all, you have to be willing to look after people, because being a psychiatric nurse is also looking after people. It's not just becoming a nurse. So you be willing to look after people, to care about people. And after that, if you're not sure you can even start doing the care job, like how I did. I did a care job. I did support worker, even though at one point I was manager as well. But you start looking after people, just doing things. And then if you think you are ready for it, you can always go to universities, because I also went to university just to open days, just to get information.
That's a brilliant idea.
Just to get information, even though there were people who were telling me about the profession already, because I met people who were already nurses. But go to information, open days, get information, and see how the studies is, because the study can be very hectic. Because one of the things I had was because as a family man, you have to work to provide for your family,
food on the table,
and also studying. It's also entails being focused and also being disciplined. So go there, get information about how it works, because it's not as easy as we all think.
Yeah.
And if you have all the information, you think you're ready for it, go for it. I know there's nowadays no more bursary like before, but that shouldn't stop people from studying.
Well, I heard something on the news that maybe they're looking at reintroducing it.
Yeah, they might 5,000 grants or what, but we have to wait and see.
This is fingers crossed.
Yeah, exactly. But let's say if you don't have that, and I mean, there's still means you can get student loan and go for it, because it's a job where even though people say it's a job for life, I question it if it's a job for life, but it's you acquire skills for life.
Yes,
because that skills you can never lose it.
Yes.
You can use it everywhere. Because I had jobs before where skills I couldn't even apply to other professions, but this job you can apply the skills everywhere.
Wow!
So definitely always speak to people who are doing the job. Get information. I mean, just start normal. Just do local. Just maybe care support work, because I've met some nurses who are brilliant in life, but sorry to say, not so great in job because they haven't had that basic skills of caring.
Yes.
They are very good in administrative. They are very good, but when it comes to patient, there are very few. Very few. Thank God, there are very few. But I mean, so it's very important to have that basic skills and also be willing to adapt, because this environment is very dynamic. It's never the same.
Right.
It's never the same.
That's why we're in it. That's why we're in it.
They're never the same. So if you are someone who difficult to adapt environment, you might struggle. I'm not saying you can't become a good nurse, but you will struggle. And also be open to the emphasis that there are difference in life. There are different people. You know, sometimes you have to put aside your belief. Sadly, it's not sadly, it's good, because Jesus Christ helped everyone. You know, he's everyone. So he didn't help you because you were not Jew or not. He even touched the unclean. And so you should be willing to support people. The caring aspect is very important. The NHS says 6 C's, but I think you should have more than 6 C's. Actually, you should be resilient as well. Very important. And also one of the things is also be accountable of your actions. Because you're dealing with people who are vulnerable. And accept that sometimes things will not always go as planned, because
you're working with human beings.
He works with human beings. It's one of the most difficult jobs you can ever have, but it's really rewarding. It's rewarding, and I don't really regret it. I mean, at first, like I said before, I was very reluctant to nursing. But now I'm very happy that I'm in the field, and every day it's never the same. I really enjoy it, and I just pray to God that God help me to become a better nurse.
That's it.
Yeah. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much for coming to the show, Alpha Collins. I've been Brian Maxwell.
I'm Ruth Maxwell.
And we are from Put God First Ministries.life, working in conjunction with your Family Matters show for Adventist Radio London. God bless you. We're out for this week.
Bye.
Bye.